What would you do if God told you that you were gonna have a baby? I'm talking about you are 90 years old. Woman comes into the center, has a pregnancy test, and she's positive, she's pregnant, she's 90. My name is Marie Joseph, and I'm reporting on Legacies of Life from the Womb. God has a plan for every single life, and every life is a legacy that God brings forth all kinds of people and purposes and plans for every single life. That a life like yours was created by God before the world began. He said through the prophet Jeremiah, he knew you. He had already thought of you. He already had chosen you for greatness. He planted you in your mother's womb. God chose you, your mother and your father. They had a decision to make to continue the pregnancy. God had a plan that you would take your first breath in this world. And he also, the fact that you're still breathing, it's also God. He's keeping you going. Every life is a legacy. And today we're going to be talking about Isaac, places in scripture where God called life from the womb. Today, I want to talk to you about the legacy of Isaac, the son, the chosen son that was the sign of the covenant that God had with Abraham. Abraham, in Genesis 17, God shares with him his plan that, yes, in fact, Sarah, yes, I know she's 90. I know you're 100, but you're going to have a baby boy and you're going to name him Isaac. And what's going to come forth from Isaac is our nations and peoples. And he had made this covenant with Abraham, which was a blessing on Abraham. Two things, that he would have land and he would have children. He'd be the father of faith. And he and Sarah waited. I believe she was 65 when they first went on their journey following God, trying to find the land and waiting to conceive. After 25 years, she went from 65 to 90. And can you imagine waiting 25 years for the plan of God? And now you're 90 and you think it's past. And in those 25 years, Sarah took matters into her own hands. She just couldn't wait anymore. One of the customs in the Egyptian culture was to have your husband be with your maidservant, and then that would be like your surrogate son. And that's what she did. She took matters into her own hand, and it didn't work out. There was tons of jealousy and anger. And so anyway, so she ended up, finally, God tells Abraham, it's time. Surely I'll return to you in a year, and Sarah will be with child. What happens? Sarah laughs.
And Sarah, your wife, shall have a son.
Now, what kind of laugh was that, do you think? You think it was like a nervous laugh? Like, like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Like, can I do this now? She thought it was the funniest thing in the world. She's like, are you kidding me? And she actually said, after I'm all worn out, man, I'm old, I'm worn out. And then God kind of calls her out on it and says, why did Sarah laugh? She said, I didn't laugh. He said, yeah, you did laugh.
I did not laugh.
Oh, but you did laugh.
And by the time Sarah had the baby, God had told Abraham, you're going to name him Isaac. And they named him Isaac. They had the boy, and Sarah just could not stop laughing. And the name Isaac actually means laughter. And she even says in the Bible, after she delivers, everyone who looks at me and everyone who sees me with child is going to be laughing with me that this could possibly happen, this miraculous thing could happen. And so countercultural, I'm sitting here 90 years old, nursing a baby. This is just hilarious. And joy together with miraculous, together with faithfulness, just makes you want to laugh. And it's a good laugh. It's a good laughter. And we need to laugh. We need to laugh and we need to be joyful and be a sign of what God can do with people that are faithful and obedient. So even pregnancy, even delivery, even the circumstances surrounding the pregnancy, the baby is a blessing. That's the message. The baby is the blessing. And you're never too old for the blessing of God. And you're never too old to be a part of God's plan to help other people to be blessed. And here we see that this pregnancy is not, it's not by chance. It was planned. It was God's plan to bring forth the faith. The covenant with God came through this baby, this promise, and God waited until it was his time to show the miraculous blessing of this baby. It reminds me of a story at the center. And I remember this couple came in and his name was Hashad and she was Nina, and they were going to have children, but they were infertile. And now he was in his 60s. And when they finally were pregnant, Hashad had lost his job. Maybe some of you can relate to that. This wasn't a good time to bring a baby into the world. It was very humiliating for him. And they were going to the abortion clinic to end the life of this child.
I tried to go to the abortion center because we cannot afford the baby. That's what we thought. And I saw like a couple of women outside of the abortion clinic. They was like holding the sign. It says, "Don't kill the baby." And I said, like, what do you want me to do? Kill my wife? And she said, "No, sir, there's a way you can do it." And she's the one who showed me the light. She told me to go to Moment Center.
I remember meeting with Hashad and Nina that day, and just the pain and the humiliation of not being able to provide. But in our presence, when we were all together talking about the fact that he had been infertile for so long, that the doctors had told him, "Don't worry, there's absolutely no way that you can conceive," he started to realize that this was from God and it was a miracle.
I was so happy, and the day I saw her, that was like very, very like grateful. Like, I don't know, this is a God gift, I can say. Thanks to you guys, thanks to God first, and thanks to you guys. I cannot say enough thanks.
And after he heard about all the support that he could receive, the blessings of knowing that he wasn't going to walk alone and that he would have all the financial support that he needed to pay the bills, to pay the rent, and to find a job, that humiliation and that sadness turned into this incredible joy. And they cried tears of laughter.
I'm very happy that I didn't fall into the step of taking abortion as an opportunity, but taking the opportunity of being a mother. That is something very important, and I feel that I'm a complete woman now.
This was good news. We cried, we laughed at this incredible, crazy plan that God would bless them with a child. They had a little baby girl. They named her Vanshika, which means a person who carries your family forward. And she truly became the light of their lives. And they were truly grateful for the help that they received and felt like God had intervened so that they could actually have this baby when they were going to kill the baby. The message today is that it's never too late. It's never too late. And we're so used to, as a society, saying, we don't have enough, I'm not enough. But in this case, we tend to say, it's too much, right? I'm too old. It's too late. I've waited too long. It's too hard. But as God says in the scriptures today, as he said when Sarah laughed at his plan, God said, is anything too hard for God? And we want to focus on this right now. And that's why I'm doing this series, because right now the womb is not a safe place. And yet that's a place that God has designed, that God has chosen to place human beings, to bring them forth and to deliver them into the world. And what if Abraham was not listening and obedient to God? What if Sarah said no? What if she said, I'm just too old? it'll never happen. It's too difficult. It's one thing to laugh, but it's another thing to say no. What if she said no? Then Isaac would have never been born. So what is it that you're afraid of because you're too old, or it's just too hard? People that you've been praying for, something, that you feel like God is through with you. There's nothing else in your life. If God showed you what his plan could be, if you trusted, if you believed, would you say I'm too old? Because you're not too old. And it reminds me, that's the story today, is how Isaac, called from the womb by God to be the legacy for Abraham, the father of faith, the sign of the covenant that Abraham would in fact be, have descendants more numerous than the stars, because he had this baby Isaac. Isaac, nations, kings, and peoples, and eventually the Messiah would come through the line of this boy, Isaac. My name is Marie Joseph, and I'm reporting on Legacies of Life from the Womb.